Did you post today, Monty, at all? You personally?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did just for kicks and giggles. I started using that new thing, and I'm not seeing anything, any notifications. So I wonder if they added it, but it's not doing anything yet. Is anybody messed with that and then seen what happens in notifications at all for when you're notified with this, when a certain person does an action, does a post?
Not yet.
Okay, I wonder if they added it to the profile, but they don't have maybe the have the follow through done. LinkedIn would never do that. LinkedIn
Oh,
would
yeah.
never,
Yeah.
LinkedIn would
Everything
never
works.
roll out a half baked product.
It always works.
I'm going to keep the slides really short and sweet so that we can jump over here to a ton of resources and tools that we have. And then we're going to mix up the format here, actually, just because of the collaborative nature with the panelists. So if you're panelists, don't check out, because I'm actually going to need you sooner than later. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, before we actually jump into the tools, I want to just sort of set the context and set the stage here for tools, because there's a lot going on here. We could be here for hours. I do want to say that today is about tools, not workflows. And the reason why I want to put that out there is because, a tool usually works best within a workflow. It's like there's step 1, 2, 3, 4, and a tool is either going to do 1 through 4, or it's going to make number 2 or number 1 or number 4 really efficient. So we're not wanting today to really get into the hash out workflows, even though I would love to, because I'm a workflows guy, but today is about the tools, not the workflows. Maybe that we could actually bring that in as a topic in the future, different workflows that you can do together with LinkedIn using all kinds of different stuff. Would that be, I don't know, we didn't really bring that up when we built out our annual plan, but if that's something that you would like, just maybe pop it in the chat and we can add it to the production schedule. Okay, so today is about tools, not workflows. I do also want to point out that there are 1,000 goals people have when they're on LinkedIn. I mean, a lot of people here are probably sales, maybe marketing, but just think about the 600 million people that are on LinkedIn. There's a whole lot of things that people want to do. There are a lot of categories. There are less categories, but there are a lot of things that people want to achieve when they're on the platform. And that means that there are 1,000 tools that are helping. So I realize that we're going to cover, I bet we'll walk away today with, I think on our list, there's like 60. I bet we walk away with 80, 90, which is awesome. But there are a ton out there. There are a lot of similar ones. And I do want to point out, just because it always is a thing, whenever we say the T word tools, I would say 70% of people associate that mentally, the T word, with automation and scraping, but there are 1,000 goals, 1,000 tools, and they do a lot of different things on a lot of different workflows, and a lot of them have absolutely nothing to do with automation and scraping. So if you're here solely for that, it's going to be a small part of the discussion, because there are so many great things out there that sales, marketers, personal branders, recruiters all can use. So lots of things out there. And I also want to say this: user beware. Bum, bum, bum. Tools obviously can be used for good or evil. I mean, that I just want to say that some people get their can I say this, that they get their knickers in a twist, because a tool can be really powerful, but maybe they have been abused by someone with the tools in the wrong hands. So tools can be used for good or
Now
evil.
let me interject there, Isaac, too. If you do get your knickers in a twist and LinkedIn has frozen you, go see last week's episode that you can find on our website at aboundsocial.com.
There you go. LinkedIn jail. Bum, bum. So tools can be used for good or evil. I also want to point out that they come and go. Tools come and go. There are a ton out there. I actually, before, like this morning, before we went on live, I had to go through all these different links here and make sure that they're still all live, because they just come and go. You got for a lot of reasons. Some make it, some don't. They get bought, they get absorbed. I mean, they come and go. And so the main takeaway here is you can get excited about something we covered here today. You can use it, but just don't be too reliant on it, because it can go away. And like, we own an agency, so I can tell you firsthand, there have been times where we've found tools and we were using them, and they helped our productivity so much And then like LinkedIn does an update and it breaks and the company goes bankrupt, or they just stop doing it. It's like, oh my gosh, my whole business was reliant. This super critical part of our workflow was reliant on this tool, and then it goes away, and then it just really sucks. So keep that in mind as we're going through the tools. If you find something you like, just put that in the back burner. Remember that nagging Isaac's voice saying this could go away. You know, it's not native to, even if it is native to LinkedIn, it could go away. But don't be too reliant because they could just pull the rug away. So that can happen. I also want to point out, just because you should review LinkedIn's user agreement for compliance, just because, again, a lot of people, when they say the T word tools, they're thinking about the A word, automation, and the S word, scraping. And so just, you know, if you're going to be using something, maybe just pop over there and read it. It's the user agreement is a riveting read. Oh my gosh, it's so fun and engaging. But basically the nuts and bolts there, if you're going to use a tool that complements LinkedIn, just the big takeaways where you might be playing with fire is if you're automating an activity, if you are scraping information that is only available while logged in, if the tool like alters the way that your browser builds LinkedIn, and and anything else, like they leave it pretty ambiguous, but I think those are the sort of big three. All right, so let's do this. Today's format for panelists, like I said a minute ago, we're going to kind of mix it up. So usually we would go through these super fun slides and then we'd move into panelists. What we're going to do today is I have this list of resource tools categories. We've been here a couple times. I've actually added a few in the meantime. And so I've tried hard to sort of categorize everything. So let's go through one category at a time, panelists. So I'll go through like there's email, like an email section, there's sales, there's CRM, there's efficiency, there's analytics and reporting, there's stuff for content, marketing. So we'll go through these one category at a time. And just since this is probably the largest resource, I'll just go through what we have on here first. I'll pop open a couple things here. If panelists, if you've used the tool, like Monty and I, we have not used every single one of these. We've messed with a lot of them over the years, but we haven't used all of them. So if you have experience, panelists, with using them, feel free to chime in. So I'll go through the category, I'll kind of jump over in a new tab, give you a couple 2 cents. If you've used it, chime in. If you've got something that's like, you know, in the email finding service bucket or the time efficiency or the analytics reporting bucket, if you have those and it's not there, we'll just add them right here live, and then we'll move on to the next one. Does that make sense? So we'll kind of collaborate category by category instead of having the panelists later, and then move into open Q&A. And so everybody that's watching, if you have a favorite tool or resource that complements what you're doing on LinkedIn, maybe grab the URL, and then when we get into the open Q&A at the end, we'll get there, and then you can help us build this out. And so I will, at the end here, I will grab this spreadsheet link for you, and I'll make it public for a while so y'all can get some info. And we probably, Monty, should just make this like, we should use it for our sales and marketing funnel, but we'll do that later. We'll just give it to y'all here today for free.
Maybe we can just give it away. Yeah.
Maybe we just give it away. All right, cool. Are we ready? I am going to do the scraping and automation section last, just because I want this to be less black. I don't want it to be super black hat. So let's see here. My browser is just a little bit slow here while I'm sharing. So sorry about that. Okay. Category number 1, ready? Connecting web apps. So this is sort of like a duh one for everybody, but Zapier, obviously, if you're not familiar with Zapier, you're the last person on the planet who's not, if you're in sales and marketing. But if you need to connect anything, it's in there. And so I don't even really know that we need to get in there. But one big thing here is automate.io is way cheaper if you're doing a lot of stuff than Zapier. Way cheaper.
One that might be cheaper. Have you heard of Integromat? That's the one I switched to.
I have. I've never used it.
And it's like $9 a month. It takes a lot more know-how. It's not, plug and play. You've got to know how to do some. I don't do it. Some does. But I've been using that one now for several months when I kind of outgrew. I had a grandfathered Zapier account And that's where my person suggested we go. So that's a new one, and it's been
That's
working
great.
pretty well. One
I
downside,
We use Integrately. Is that how it is? Or like you, Crystal, I don't use it. My VA uses it because I outgrew Zapier. I had a grandfathered account. So there's
yeah, I
quite a
did
few
too, but it was
different.
still expensive.
And,
Yeah.
and then just to kind of, if you've not used some of these tools, and also I forgot to say this earlier, sorry, that's my fault. Myself and panelists, when we're going through the tools, if you've used them, if we can just kind of help people understand how that tool is complementary to what you can do on LinkedIn, I think that'd be very helpful for everyone here, just so they can walk away with an action item. Like what we'll do with Automate is with automate.io is like, if we have like a conversion or something, we'll do your typical thing, like same thing with Zapier, but we'll do something like in a spreadsheet row, and then we'll hook it up so it'll like maybe go right into the CRM, get assigned to the contact owner. You can do a zillion things, but like that's probably our biggest thing with LinkedIn is we're grabbing information that needs to be used for both reporting and for like CRM actions. And then we'll use Automate because it's cheaper than Zapier. We'll use automate.io to pass the information where it needs to go and kind of trigger workflows for later. So that's kind of how we use it in a way that's complementary.
Maybe in addition to that, Isaac, is we point out the level of technical wherewithal you have to be able to use some of these tools. Like, are they just super easy plug and play? You don't have to know a whole lot, or are they fairly sophisticated and you need to have
That's a great point.
A pretty sophisticated, understanding to be able to use them.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
One last thing about the integration tools is that LinkedIn's open AI is very limited at this point. So there's really only so much that all of them can do because they pulled most of their integrations years ago, or that most of their APIs, their public APIs years ago.
Yeah. Yep. They want you to stay on platform. All right. Let's talk about moving on to any other similar things to Zapier, Integrimat that can be used for sort of just a Swiss Army knife of whatever you're grabbing info from LinkedIn, triggering workflows, passing information between applications.
Now, these specific tools that you're just talking about right now are not specific to LinkedIn, right? Those will work on multiple platforms.
Yeah, actually,
and in multiple things, websites
right.
included.
It should be pointed out also with the API, I think that was a great thing to point out. So if you're wanting to do any kind of connecting stuff that happens on LinkedIn with another web application, LinkedIn really doesn't let you do anything like that from what's going on in LinkedIn, except for with a lead form for paid ads. And so I think they have some stuff there where, like, if you do a paid ad, you've got a lead form, which is like a contact form. You can set it up so like the contact information using Zapier gets sent to your CRM and is like, hey, this person submitted a form. What are you going to do next, kind of thing. But I think that is pretty close to about it as far as what LinkedIn says is okay.
They do have a developer
I do think we
site.
should point out, 1 second, Crystal. I do think we should point out as we jump into all this stuff, we are not promoting or saying that you guys should use any one of these. So this is information only, use at your own discretion and your own risk.
Totally.
All
All right,
right,
Crystal, what you got?
And there is a developer site, developers.linkedin.com, where you can register to get access to their APIs, to program stuff in the open APIs, to be able to do that. So like tools like for live streaming, for LinkedIn Live, that's where they go. So where you have to go and register and tell them what the app is, and you can grab the actual code. There's a couple of different versions of code if you get into that. I think they use REST and I forget what the other one is. And you can actually build your own little apps with the public APIs if you really want to get into it.
That is a fantastic point. That's a fantastic point, Crystal. And I think if you just need a LinkedIn account, then you can register for a developer and then you create an application and then, yeah, awesome. Awesome. And actually, a lot of times if you're going to be doing stuff, you need those APIs. And so you sort of need to go through that process anyways. So it's a great point. All right, let's move on to analytics. So we've got Clipfolio and Shield. Both are pretty common. I personally have not ever used either. So since it's more, I think probably the Shield is more popular. Has anyone here used Shield? And we're already 20 minutes in. So if we could kind of keep it to, 3 minutes, that would be very helpful so we can get through all these.
I use it, but I want to add, there's one more common one out there. It's called Inlytics, INLYTICS. That's low cost, user based. Was on AppSumo. I bought a lifetime deal. It's not as good as
Cool.
Shield, but
It's a
another
good starter one.
Yes, it is a very good starter one for people because I think they have a free level who aren't doing anything serious. It's still got a lot of runway to grow too. It was really a MVP kind of product when they put it out.
I have used Shield quite a bit. I can speak to that in a minute. And none of these tools pull out any data that you can't just get on LinkedIn. It's all the same data. The value to it is how it's aggregated and how it is shown to you. So it will help when you use tools like this. It can help you create your own strategy. It will help you, like for instance, you can go back to your last 6 months posts and see which ones perform the best, then grab those, rewrite them and relaunch them again, after 6 months. So, or whatever your timing is, but that's just one example. It is good to, they're valuable to be able to see all of your data kind of displayed and in one spot. It's been a while since I've used Shield. I think the last I've heard is that they have incorporated company pages. Is that correct? Is anybody using it that knows that?
Yeah, they've had those for a while. It was just a higher level plan. I use it. I like to capture data. I haven't really done a whole lot with it. I just like to capture data in case I need it.
Yeah. And again, it's an aggregator. I mean, it just pulls the data that's available, but it's how it's displayed that makes it easier to use. So,
Awesome.
or whatever that matters.
Has anyone here used Clipfolio?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, let's move on. Sorry, Clipfolio. If your team is watching this later, we didn't give you the time. Sorry. Yeah. So PS, we're messages from your team. It's kind of fun. So you never know who's going to come back. All right, efficiency for inbox management. So here are two cool tools. Dimitri introduced me to Piwa, and I don't know how I found Guru. He might have actually messaged me on LinkedIn. So Judy Hayes, if you're here and I just don't see your face on the video screen, she's always complaining about the LinkedIn inbox and how it is just a nightmare to keep things organized. So both Piwa and Nguro, they have a similar solution to the same problem. And that is you can take and create, you can kind of see here, I'll try to zoom in.
Lead Delta has added that too.
Lead Delta?
I think it's still, yeah, Lead Delta has added the messaging functionality. I think it's still in beta. That's
I've
kind
used
of
Lead
a,
Delta. Yeah,
yeah.
I love
It's
it.
a CRM, and then they've just been adding inbox capabilities. I don't think they've gotten Sales Nav inbox the last time I looked at it, but again, it's still one of those that put an MVP out and they're still growing.
Nice.
But
so the kind of problem is you get like 100 messages and LinkedIn doesn't give you any way to like really categorize them, label them, tag them. If you're doing different initiatives with different kind of people at the same time, how do you like separate those two at the same time? And so this will say, all right, what text should we look for to know it's part of this initiative? And then, oh, here's all of your incoming messages that you haven't responded to. Here's where they are in the sort of pre-sales pipeline. So it's kind of like a third-party solution to how we would use lead lists and Sales Nav, but you don't need Sales Nav, and it's a little bit more time efficient. So that is, they're really powerful if you're going to use them. So does that make sense? Any questions on that?
Yes, and I highly recommend them because the LinkedIn direct messaging box is horrific.
It is horrific. It is. I'll tell you though, when I was saying earlier that we learned the hard way, it was with one of these resources. So so just keep that in mind. If you rely too much on it, and then your organization and all this time that you spent organizing is in there, and then it just doesn't work anymore. Just reminding that for everyone. Okay. Any other inbox management tools other than, which I'm about to add, lead delta for inbox efficiency? Anything else that anyone's used, panelists? And if you put something that's like a world-changing resource in the chat, we'll get to it hopefully later. Thank you for your patience.
Some of the automation tools I use have inbox capabilities as part of the automation tool, not a standalone inbox.
Right.
Yeah, some of them are pretty good. They combine even email and LinkedIn combined into one inbox.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep. And a lot of the cloud-based automation tools related to the inbox management will separate for you incoming messages versus like you've sent the last reply, which is very helpful. And I think you can probably tag them too, right? I don't know. Do you know, Mike?
Label, similar color code. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Let's move on to email. So we have used a number of, I think there's a few things here with email. Obviously, email is kind of a big subject. So we've got email marketing at the bottom, which we'll get to in a little bit. Hopefully, if we have time, we'll see, we're half past the hour. Let's talk about, before we get into email finding service, just because it's kind of a one-off. So Lemlist is a little bit just different. It's kind of like email marketing. They do some crossover with automation on LinkedIn, but the big, in my experience, the big win with Lemlist is you can create dynamic images when you're doing email. So like if I have a list of people that I've created on LinkedIn and I've sent them a message and they haven't replied, or they have, or whatever, you can grab their profile URL. You can grab like a GIF or an image, and then you can build it all together. There's a level of, some audiences appreciate something fun, some don't. So it can be too gimmicky for some people, but it's a really cool tool for the right audience. Really cool tool for the right audience. And has anybody else used Lemlist? Any panelists? It's pretty affordable. It's pretty cool. I like it. It's not for everyone, not for every initiative, but it's a really cool way to make your email, like especially your cold email. If you have something worth saying to someone, it's a way to like really break the ice in a fun way. So again, not for everyone, but pretty cool. Email finding services. There are, again, a million of these. We've used, there's Drop Contact in there twice. So we've used Drop Contact, Snov. I've used Hunter. I feel like as far as the quality, deliverability, accurate emails, Drop Contact has been best for us. They're pretty cheap as well. Snov is a little bit, it's a little bit less accurate, but they have more robust integrations. So it's kind of a give take there. Anybody else have any panelists, any favorite email finding services? Okay. So if you are here and you do email, you might want to check those two out. I would, again, yeah, the trade-off is integrations versus Drop Contact, I think is a little bit cheaper. And in my experience, has provided more accurate emails. All right, just some sort of sales tools. Crystal knows personality tests. Who used that here?
Isaac,
Was it
real quick,
Yep.
Laura just popped in and said Viola Norbert. VOILA.
Voila.
Voila. Viola.
French, right?
All right, I'll add that really quick. All right, so while I'm doing that, if panelists, anyone here who has used Crystal before, can you, sorry, I broke my own rule, email finding service. So why would you use this? So I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just saying this is how people use it in a workflow. You might have a list of people on LinkedIn who you just cannot connect with. You have their first name, you have their last name. You have their company name, their company website, so you can run that information through an email funding service, grab their work email, and then try to get a hold of them that way. Obviously, don't spam people, but that's sort of how it works in complementary to LinkedIn. Hey, Monty, someone's giving me feedback. Can we?
Yeah.
Someone who's not a.
If you guys can mute your mics.
Sorry about that. I get so distracted. It's my weakness. All right, so someone here I remember has been using Crystal. I don't remember who it was, but if you've used Crystal for personality evaluation, could you chime in, panelists?
I use it a
I-
lot.
I use it a ton.
Tell us how.
Crystal Notes is fantastic because it does personality profiles and it does it all using your LinkedIn profile, which is really crazy, but it works phenomenally. So
Got
how-
me wrong though. I would say that because I went and did my own and then I had it do my profile and it did not get me right. I don't know.
What if you don't know yourself?
yeah, maybe you just need to do some interpersonal.
That could be true.
Crystal does know.
I use it extensively, and it 99% of the time people say that is me.
I have that's my experience as well. And here's why it works so well. We have our own personalities, and when you're in sales and you're trying to get into conversations with people and stuff like that, what you want to you're not face to face. You can't shake a hand and stuff like that. So how do you get to know how a person likes to be communicated with, and what's the how do you need to engage them on the platform? Crystal Knows will pretty much tell you what their personality is and how you should communicate directly with them. So that's how I use it. If
Do you
I
pay
want
for
to,
it, Monty? And
Yep.
how much is it? And is it you think it's worth paying for?
it's cheap. I don't have the cost right off the top of my head, but
There is a free version of it.
You
It's
can
you're
do it
restricted to how many you can
Yeah,
do, but
I
it's worth
ran
trying
through
it.
I ran through my free version. Wasn't sure if I
When
wanted
you-
to pay for it.
when you use it, they will actually make recommendations for you in your communication. And I've found that those have all been really great as well. So based on their personality profile, they'll tell you, you should say this, so on and so forth, open a conversation. So for instance, if somebody really wants to get to the point, instead of just being wishy-washy and trying to beat around the bush, that you can just get straight to the point with that person and they're going to appreciate that.
That's how I
Other
am.
people are not going to be that way, right? So just because I'm a person that may like to get just straight to the point, other people may find that abrasive. So Crystal Knows will give you an idea, even if it's not spot on all the time, it's going to be close. And it'll just give you a leg up in terms of your communication. I highly recommend that one.
Erica, did you have something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, I've worked with it in building sales teams, and I can say a couple things. Monty is spot on. Also, if you ever rewrite somebody's profile, like I kind of worked on my husband's profile, and I thought there's no way Crystal's going to get it because I worked on my husband's profile. It still nailed him because I wrote as him. So that's where it did work. But the other thing is, if you don't feel confident in your ability to overcome objections, there's a whole section on, oh, this is what you can say if there are these types of objections. If you're already trained in DISC, like I didn't need to use Crystal as much, but I've noticed with younger salespeople or people who don't feel confident in their sales skills, Crystal is a must.
Awesome. Man, we need to
Very
get like some kind of affiliate link for Crystal Knows. All right, moving on, just for the sake of time, so many good things. We are halfway through the list. So let's see here. A couple of these down at the bottom are similar. So fingers crossed we'll get through. Apollo.io. Now, Apollo.io is, I would say it's the cheaper version to LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's got it's plus a bunch of other information. You can do a company search, or to use Sales Nav lingo, account search. You can do a person or lead search. You can create lists, inclusion, exclusion. The company data that they have is a combination of what is on LinkedIn and what's on their website. So there's like stuff in the meta title and description of the website. So it's got a lot. I feel like for company search, it's actually better than LinkedIn. for lead or person search, almost identical to what you'll find on LinkedIn. And the information when we used it has been pretty up to date. The really big win, other than it being cheaper, is that they'll just straight up let you do a CSV export. So it's like, that's always the complaint with LinkedIn is how do I get this information out of LinkedIn? And so they'll let you do a CSV export. And as a kind of bonus, they have a hey, we think this is their email. We've not found that to be amazingly accurate, but it's kind of a bonus. So they include the email in there. And I think there's a free version, there's a paid version. So I forget what the prices are off the top of my head, and let's just not go there for the sake of time. But if you want to use LinkedIn for sales and you're like, oh man, I just don't know, Sales Nav is worth the $100 a month that it is now, and I don't know if I'll use it all the time, and oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated with not being able to export stuff, you might check out Apollo, just sort of as a way. So in this situation, it's not really complimentary. It's a LinkedIn, you're too expensive and you're a greedy dragon who won't let your treasure out of your cave. So
How is their support? How is one of the big questions we haven't covered on any of the tools is support.
That's true.
That's the biggest thing for me. I get on chat and I don't need to be an expert because they tell me all the little things I need to know in this particular situation. 20 minutes later, I'm a hero. Instead of tomorrow, I still haven't figured it out.
Yeah. Mike, for Apollo, yeah, that's a good point. So if we can bring it up, go ahead. With Apollo, the only support I ever did with them was related to pricing, and they were live chat, but that was also a while back. So it's if you're familiar with Sales Nav, the user interface is pretty much the same. So I don't have anything beyond that. Sorry. Let's go on to for sales data enrichment. So obviously, if you've ever done sales, you're probably familiar with ZoomInfo. The big win here is if you cannot get someone talking on LinkedIn and you just know, maybe it was a referral, maybe there's a trigger on the account that where for sure that you're worth talking to, you can use a credit and get hopefully their accurate phone and email. So ZoomInfo, pretty standard in the sales industry. It's just really expensive. I think that the minimum price, and I've heard numerous times that they'll negotiate, but I think the kind of cookie cutter pricing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here because I would love to know, I believe the sort of out of the box price is 1 year, $15,000, 5,000 credits. Has anybody here used or paid for ZoomInfo? Do you know if that's is it accurate?
Sounds like Jay has. Jay Taylor, can you tell us?
All right, I'm going to keep going. So
yeah, I have. I did not.
It is accurate. Yeah.
That's accurate. Okay. And then did someone say that they've used it and they weren't a big fan?
Here. Yeah. Not a big fan.
Was it the cost or was it the information that we were accurate for your audience?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Yeah.
For that money, the information should be accurate and current. And I think that's going to be a huge challenge for these services going forward, considering how many people are moving to new jobs.
That's a great point. So to my understanding, how these data aggregators work like that is they will cross-check across the internet. So if they're looking for somebody's phone number, they check all website sources, all social media sources and stuff like that, and they try and cross-check that. That doesn't mean it's going to be accurate, but they hope to get it as accurate as possible. But you pay for it, no doubt about it.
The thing about ZI is they are trying to compete with Seamless and the other, big ones, that it's a one touch. If you gather the data, it's a one button click into whatever workflow you've got, and it's completely automated inside of 15 seconds. Whereas the other scrapers and that kind of stuff, you've got to develop the workflow and manually do things. It's extraordinarily easy to use and time efficient. That's all.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things with ZoomInfo. It's probably just one of those things where if you can give it a try, and if it's worth the money, pay for it and use it. So,
yep.
All right.
I use it every day, guys. I don't know what they do now, but I know initially a long time ago when I started using it, at Autodesk, it was really creepy how they did stuff, right? So if you signed up, right, they scraped your contact list off of your email and your cell phone and that kind of stuff, and that's how
Wow.
they got info. Now, whether they're still doing that or not, I don't know. But at first, I was really reticent to use it because, oh, Chris, how'd you get my my cell phone number, or how'd you get my email address? Yeah, I found it on the internet, right, or whatever. I've been stalking you. That's how.
Yeah. So it complements LinkedIn to where if you know you want to talk to someone, you can't get them talking on LinkedIn, there's the option to switch over to another channel. Hopefully that contact information is correct. So, and then, I mean, ZoomInfo has got a lot going on, sort of seamless. So we're more talking about the data enrichment piece here, but they've got a lot of other stuff going on, just to their credit. So, all right, we're 15 minutes left. So let's talk about real quick CRMs. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but if your company is not to the point yet where you have started using a CRM, you should definitely have a couple options on the back burner. I feel like years ago, Pipedrive was pretty hot, and then they kind of just became not. I don't know. They haven't really done a lot. I'm not a big fan of Pipedrive. They're not bad. They're pretty cheap as far as if you're going to pay, but they're not my favorite. Hubspot, they're free. I think the user interface is a little bit better there, more integrations. But if you want to do anything with like sales email automation, it's going to be minimum of like $500 a month for 5 seats. So it's a bit more expensive, but better. There are a couple pretty cool CRMs that have baked in marketing platforms as well. And I know there are a lot more than what's on this list. So let's try to get through it. But sorry, I forgot to ask panelists too on the data enrichment. So let's do that here in a minute for CRMs too. So SharpSpring and Ventive, they both have marketing baked into the CRM piece, which can be helpful. So panelists, any of you, you have anything you want to add to CRM plus marketing?
SharpSpring is super pricey, and it keeps elevating you. I mean, they have sort of baked in wanting to step you up, and it's complex. I mean, I'm not the most techie person, but it was very complex. And I think most large teams that use SharpSpring, they usually have a designated person to manage it. There are a lot of arms to it, so it's pretty robust, but it's pricey.
Yeah.
So I gave it up after 6 months. I was done.
It seems SharpSpring seems more like if you are going to be a reseller, that's where it makes sense. Where if
Yeah, it has that option too. That's not how I was trying to use it, but it does.
Yeah. Any other CRM plus marketing kind of together? I guess HubSpot has the plus marketing component if you want to pay for that as well. Any other big players out there that you've used that you want to add to the list?
This is just me. I like Keep Infusionsoft for the ability to, invoice at a way cheaper rate through direct pay as my merchant service, but you can also build landing pages. You've got marketing through there.
That's true.
I've actually enjoyed it. It's been super user friendly, and I'm building landing pages through it right now versus using
Awesome.
the website.
And Infusionsoft was the big dog a while ago. They got like a whole bunch of money from investors, and it seemed like everyone in social media was using it. And I don't know, haven't heard much of it, but I haven't heard anything bad other than it's very. Was it quite a startup, Erica? I mean, did you pay engineers to help you get it set up?
You can do that, but it's super user friendly. And when I attach my merchant services through direct pay and authorize.net, it's like less than what you would pay through PayPal or some of the other stuff. It's like sub 3% on the merchant services through direct pay, and they help you set that up as well. The other CRM I would add, if somebody is like not as scaled up just yet, is Less Annoying CRM. That is one that's super easy to use. And I know of $75 million companies still using, Less Annoying CRM. So it's supposed to be super user friendly and very, very basic.
Cool.
Also, Infusionsoft changed their name. It's Keep now, which
That's
may
what
be
I've
why
been
you're not
calling
hearing about it, Mike.
That
Because
would
it's
be
called
why.
Keep.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been referring to it as Keep Infusionsoft. But yeah, but it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. A rebranding that didn't stick.
It's
I
tough.
think it's pretty brilliant. Keep Infusionsoft. don't
Confusion,
need.
Confusionsoft, right?
Boom, boom, nailed it. All right, let's keep going because we're short on time. There are a couple things here which I'll just leave it up to you to peruse in the you're on your own later. But if you're using HubSpot or Pipedrive, and this is actually these all send the contact information and some of them the message history to HubSpot and Pipedrive. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you're on LinkedIn, one click, uses the API, creates the contact, first name, last name, all the info. Sometimes I think one of them, I forget which one it was, will grab the message history and add it as notes. So that's super helpful if you happen to be using those CRMs, because I mean, again, as how it's complementary to LinkedIn is you're on LinkedIn, you're talking to someone and they want to take the conversation off LinkedIn. You have only a couple options. You can like manually create a contact, which is a pain. You can set up a big, huge like automation system to do whatever. Maybe you scrape it and add it to a row and maybe that's just way out of your league. Or you can pay for something like this and go, oh, click, done. So that's kind of how it's complementary to LinkedIn. They're pretty cheap. I think these two are $20 a month. Last I checked on price. Hubris, which sends people to HubSpot, is $8 a month. And I think that there's a limit on how many you can do with Hubris. So it might be cost comparable. So if you're using those CRMs, very helpful. Anybody else have any kind of one-click solutions that will grab contact information on LinkedIn and then pass it right to a CRM?
Yeah, I use LeadJet.
LeadJet?
I just found lead. I used Link Match for a while, but LeadJet just made more sense. It had more customizability. That's a word. Notes, places for notes. So I connect my LeadJet to Copper that lives in my Gmail because I just need to keep it really simple and have it all in one place.
Cool.
Yep.
Would you say that is more for like CRM integration, or do they have anything else here? Like, is that, it looks like they've got,
I mean, they capture if email is available, they capture that, the phone number and all that. And it just, yeah, it has more of a CRM feel to it, the way I've kind of sewed it together.
Cool.
Yep.
That's great.
We have pre-built Zaps in our Zapier library to integrate with LinkedIn.
Yes.
Okay.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, let's move on here. 10 minutes left and 20 to go, but there's a lot of redundancies here. So we've got a couple, for the sake of efficiency, text automation. Has anyone here used like auto text expander, text blaze, where if you're on LinkedIn and you're saying the same message or the same kind of message, maybe the same invite, maybe a similar reply all the time, and just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of retyping this, or I don't want to deal with having another tab open in a Google Doc or a notepad. You can just boom, like control whatever and sort of pop up and expand a pre-done thing, and then you can customize it. Has anyone used any of those two?
I live by
tools?
Text Expander and recommend it 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I live by Text Blaze for profile
Okay, cool.
viewers. Follow.
Everyone needs a tool like this. Everybody does. Auto text expander, text expander, and whatever it is, they're gotta have it.
The Text Blaze has a
Awesome.
Chrome extension, so it's super easy to pop in to grab anytime you need it. Yeah.
So you can kind of see there like / whatever you want to do, and then boom, pulls it in TY.
I'll drop a link for Expanso. It's expanso.org.
Expanso.
Yes.
Add that real quick.
PANSO.
Almost sounds like a racial slur, Monty.
Whoa. Goodness, we have
Slow it down.
Come on, Chris. That's going out in post-production.
See, there you go.
All right, let's do this. And then I just want to move forward just so that I feel like we don't have enough to do a round two. So I really want to get through this all today. All right, let's move on to analytics and reporting dashboards. So this is going to be more in the category as if you're in marketing. So if you're in marketing, kind of pain point when you're on LinkedIn is it's really hard. We've been talking about this in different ways. Aggregating your data. You know, you've got a bunch of stuff that you'd want to maybe look at in one dashboard. Maybe it's your personal content analytics. Maybe it's your sales analytics. Maybe it's your website analytics. Maybe it's whatever. Maybe it's your company page analytics. There are so many things that you might want to see. And it's like, how can I take all of these 10 important, like different data sources and put them all together so I can make informed decisions? So this is more for you marketers, and sales can be in there because a lot of times if you're working for a more sophisticated sales team, they'll be, maybe tracking how many calls you've made, how many emails you've sent, how many, all that sort of sales stuff, booked meetings to email sent so ratio, that might be in there as well. But how do you put all of that together into one dashboard? And these are a few resources that have come up in the past. We've got Reporting Ninja, and I know there are a lot more. So if anybody here has used a sort of all-in-one reporting suite and you're experienced in marketing and or sales, let me know. But Reporting Ninja, Dash This, Databox, all pretty good ones. Anybody have any other favorites you want to drop in the resource list real quick? All right, that's going to be probably more for you probably don't do that unless you own an agency and need like some serious data for bigger accounts. So those are, if you're solo, a lot of these are going to be too expensive as well, just FYI. So might be a little overkill unless you are a larger company or agency. All right, moving on to the content piece here. So dynamic images, Hyperize, kind of like Lemlist, but where Lemlist builds it out for email. Hyperize is basically creating an image that's on a URL, and you can build a whole bunch of stuff in the same kind of way. So you might have first name, last name, whatever field that you have available on LinkedIn or wherever else. And then you can take and say, put this picture as background or this GIF as background, and put their face on it or their company logo. And then it creates a link automatically. There's no like exporting PDFs or anything. It's just on a link. And then you can use that link anywhere. So you could put that, like, if you're familiar with like HTML or whatever, the URL source equals, here it is. You can pull it in anywhere you want. Really robust tool, pretty affordable. If you are an agency, starts at $100 a month. Mostly works with like Google Sheets and stuff. So to kind of pull all your data in and then do all that stuff, but lots of integrations there, pretty cool. We've used it, again, for the right audience, love it. For the right audience, love it. Anybody else used Hyperize? Okay. Again, it's for the right audience. So your audience has to appreciate basically a good GIF with their face on it. That's kind of where it is. If you're talking, and then that's not everybody,
Who doesn't?
You're talking to yeah, who doesn't? I mean, actually, some people don't, because you hear from them about it. All right, let's move on to Judy Parsons sent me this. She said, "Oh, I can't make it today." She says she uses Yay Text to change the font on her LinkedIn post. So have you ever seen that before, where you've got like I'll see if I can find an example. You've got a LinkedIn post and you're like, man, how is this like bold or italicized? But I can't do that when I'm typing. I can't do Control B or I or whatever, what's going on there. This is Judy's hack. And so I don't know how everybody else does it, but
Fancy
this is how
text generator.
Yeah, there's
Fancy
multiple out there.
Yeah.
If you just search for Unicode converter, it will. There's a ton of them.
Just remember, they don't always show up. Lots of times they show up as just lines or boxes with X's through them.
I've seen both for sure. That's totally true. Does any fancy text generator, do you have a URL on that by chance?
It's right.
Is
You
it
have it right there.
the
Fancy text generator,
lingojam.com?
3 down.
Lingo Jam. Lingojam.com.
Okay. Lingo Jam.
Same thing.
Duh, Isaac. Mary, in just a minute, I'm going to ask you about StreamYard. If you have time, you got to bounce out.
No, I'm good today.
Okay, cool. All right, let's add this one. All right, we've got a couple captioning options on there. And again, for complementary to LinkedIn, if you're doing anything with video, really, captioning is for video. So any content marketers here who do video and you want to do a caption, and that's going to be helpful for, just burn it into the video itself so that when people are going through the newsfeed and their volume is off, they know what you're saying, right? So very, very helpful there. There's Quick Otter and Dub. I'll just let you grab those on the URL later because they'll kind of do the same thing, different price points.
Rev.com.
Rev.com. That's right. That's another one.
Especially for non-techie people, that's where I send them. It's cheap and
Cool.
it's easy for non-techie people.
Otter
Pretty
does
soon, they'll just
transcriptions.
integrate it, kind of like what Facebook and some other platforms do.
Yeah, I found Otter transcriptions are really accurate. I use Otter all the
Cool.
time after I do interviews with clients.
The
awesome, yeah.
transcriptions are accurate, but you can't actually have it cut into the pieces to go with the video is the problem.
Yeah,
With using Otter for that purpose,
yeah.
I found.
Hey,
But
everyone, I'm
you
going to
can
put
take those transcriptions and you can turn them into posts.
Yes.
I'm putting
Blogs,
Yes.
this link to
articles.
the sheet here. We're
Sorry,
coming up
Isaac,
on
were
the
you trying to
hour.
talk?
It's fine. Yeah, we're coming up on the hour. I just want to be respectful of everyone that needs to head out. So I just put the link to the sheet here so that you can grab the URLs of the different tools later. We're going to keep going just for a couple minutes here, but just for those of you who want to bounce out there, or you have to bounce out for another meeting. There you go. Okay, Mary, just because of the sake of time, I'm going to jump down here. Can you share how you use StreamYard and how that's complementary to what you do on LinkedIn?
So we all know video, right? Video works. It really captures your audience. It's another way for you to market. And so I use StreamYard. There's a free version. So if you're just looking to get started with live streaming, I highly suggest StreamYard. It is the easiest one to use. I've used them all. Literally every platform out there I have used. StreamYard is super easy for non-techie. You can brand it when you purchase it. I believe it's $49 a month. I do have an affiliate link, and anyone who signs up, I offer free training. Like if you sign up with my affiliate link, I'm offering like 30 minutes to get you started. But I like it because you can brand yourself. You can bring comments and questions on the screen. You can do share screen. Vivica saw my 15 minutes of Fame Tuesday. They have incorporated so many new features. There's music now. You can have slides on there. And there's more features coming out. So I really like StreamYard because it's easy to use. And I believe that live streaming really helps you get your message out there in a different way. We are a visual, right? So reading is great, but you take that live stream, you guys, and then you use Otter or Descript or whatever, and you turn that into a blog and an article on LinkedIn. And then you take, if you do a live show, you can have 10 pieces of content easily. So you don't always have to be coming up with content.
And
Was that fast enough?
That's fantastic. So let me ask you this, refresh me. Do you still need a third-party service to do LinkedIn Live?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's
this is like
Be
if you're
Live,
on LinkedIn,
there's StreamYard, there's Ecamm. Ecamm is only for Mac users.
Restream.
Wave Video has it now. I'm in the beta group. I haven't tested it yet. But it has to be an approved, Crystal, what did we just buy that we don't have access yet?
It's called Flutin Live, Flutin. It was an AppSumo lifetime deal. It was an AppSumo lifetime deal. It's gone now, but it's in there. They're supposed to be having it set up for LinkedIn Live by end of this month, beginning of next. So I bought it.
So if you have your own business, you should be having a show. It's just another, whether it's a monthly show, it doesn't have to be weekly. Once a month, host a free training. Once a month, interview someone, and then take that and create multiple pieces of content from it. It helps you set yourself up as the expert or the thought leader. Even if you don't have your own business, if you're a career professional, why not go live and talk about what you do? Or if maybe you have products, do a product review live. Or if you've written a book, do a live virtual book launch. I did that for a client. We did a 2-hour virtual book launch with a bartender, a saxophone player. I mean, there's so much that you can do, and raffle prizes.
That's
Gotta
cool.
have prizes.
Cool.
That's very cool. So if you're on LinkedIn and you do any kind of content, especially with video, or you want to do LinkedIn Live, you've got to choose something like StreamYard. So very complimentary to whatever you're trying to do there, if that's what you're after in your workflow. All right, you know what? We're on the hour. So let's, how many people do we still have on? Should we keep going?
You still have 40 people on the call.
Oh, well, geez. Okay, let's just keep cranking through these. All right, here we go. Moving on to the marketing bucket. Thank you, Mary, for explaining that. There you go. Okay, marketing. So we've got cookie-free targeting. El Toro does this, and actually John was the first person that told me about it. And John, I'm not sure if you're still on, so thanks for sending this our way. So, you know, like a lot of browsers and platforms are trying to get rid of cookies. And so if you're doing any kind of remarketing or whatever, it can be a problem. And so what El Toro has the capability to do is IP targeting. So I don't want to get into the technical specifications there, but if you do cookie-based marketing in any way and it's a problem for you, you might want to check out El Toro, how it is pertinent to LinkedIn. I mean, you might have someone visit your website from LinkedIn. Hello, like let's do something with that group. You might be on LinkedIn and you might share some kind of link with someone, and then they go to your website and they kind of do these things on your website, and you want to take advertising action on them. Cookies aren't an option. El Toro. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there in sort of big workflow, but if you're into cookie-free targeting, you might want to check out El Toro. Anybody else use cookie-free targeting? I feel like there's not going to be a lot of options there, but anybody use anything there that you want to add to the list? All right, let's keep going. Marketing, you've got branded link sharing and analytics. So these are pretty cool resources for those of you who are sharing content. So, you know, you might share the link to your website. You might share the link to whatever, maybe it's not on your website. So what you can do is you can basically give these tools the link, and then you can actually, I'm laughing because it would tick me off if someone did what I'm about to say, but it's an option. So you might have an awesome resource that you want to give someone, but it might not be on your website and you don't want to maybe put it together. So you put the URL that you want to send people to in one of these tools, and then you can actually, like, it creates an iframe. So they look it up, it's in an iframe, and you can add like your logo or your LinkedIn profile headshot. You can add like a call to action hovering over the resource to go to your website. It's almost like, you know, stealing the call to action. But if you are sharing content, it can be a really powerful tool. So it's kind of cool. Has anybody used these at scale here? No? Okay. So like I could go to a competitor's website, grab the URL and share it with someone else and say, hey, are these guys doing a good job? And it's got like my face and a link to our website. So anyways, you can use it for good or evil. That would be poking the bear, but you can do all kinds of fun stuff with those, with Rebrandly and Snipply. Anybody else use any other tools like that? No? Okay, cool stuff. Let's go to scheduling posts if you're doing content marketing. So we've got three here that are comparable. We've got Agorapulse, Mav Social, and Social Bee. And then I think the latter two do a couple other things as well. Anybody have any experience and want to share how they complement your strategy? Those three.
I use Agorapulse. I've used a ton of these. They're all kind of the same. They all have some downsides to them. I've found Agorapulse to be the most user-friendly and to work the best with LinkedIn. You can do native. One of the reasons why is it will upload native video to LinkedIn, which many of them will not. So they actually have the API to do that. I don't know about a lot of the others, but you can set up all kinds of different accounts. If you're managing a lot of accounts, you can set up as many as you want, really. And posting is very easy. Scheduling is very easy. So I'd recommend Agora.
Anybody here use Nav Social? I believe Scott Allen sent this our way. I've not used it. Anybody else used Nav Social before? No. So Scott, since he's not here today, has said that it's comparable to Agora, not as awesome, but much more affordable. So if you're more in startup mode, you might want to check out Mav Social. Might not have all the bells and whistles, might be a little bit more janky, but you might want to check that out. Social Bee, that's you, Crystal, right?
Yep, I do partner with them. What I really like about their tool. You can do LinkedIn video, I believe, up to a certain length. I don't think they can support the full 10 minutes. I think a couple of minutes. I really like how they have curation tools where you can pop in your RSS feeds to really kind of have a nice place to find content without having to go look for it, and then automatically turn those into posts. Is one of the things
Yeah,
I like
well,
about that configuration.
Laura, to answer the question that you just put in on tagging people, that's a problem on all of them. It's hit or miss. On Agora, you can tag companies. I haven't seen a problem with doing that. Individuals is another story.
Yeah, I think the LinkedIn API supports tagging companies, but not tagging people, which is why most can't do it.
Got it. All right, let's move forward. Here we go. Let's see. Here we have a couple extensions. I've not had any problems with these extensions. I know when we say tools plus extensions, everyone's like, oh, is LinkedIn gonna hate this one? Now, I've not had any problems with these. I don't think they're on any kind of blacklist, and they're not doing any kind of automation at all. It's just more of like helping LinkedIn at what it sucks at. So we've got one is to toggle a commenting on any post. So actually, let me just do this. So you've got, if you go to LinkedIn, the default is your personal profile. You go to your company page, the default is your company. So if you're going to comment on stuff, it's going to be company. So I could go like this, boom, and do a comment. But instead of doing the comment as me on this post in the newsfeed, you can use the extension to comment as your company. And there's under the hood, what happens is you grab the post URL, and then it adds a question mark, like company ID or something like that equals, and it's your company ID. And then it's kind of like it's a manual hack. You can do it. It's nothing like weird. It's just the extension makes it way easier because you just click a button instead of like copy pasting that piece and remembering your company ID and all that stuff. So it can be very helpful to give your brand exposure on LinkedIn if you are engaging with material that's just in your normal newsfeed. So not for everybody, but very helpful if you want to do that. So there's the Crm extension.
If you happen to be an admin for multiple pages, it gives you a drop down where you can pick which one you want to use, which is handy.
Yep, that's exactly right. And then the other one here, this kind of second one is for, it's kind of like really fast hashtag research. So I might say, woohoo, I love you, hashtag. You see this right here, the get followers, that is something that the extension is adding. So I can do, let's see, how many people are in sales? And it's dropping it down, 5 million followers for this hashtag, 23, 11. So cool, maybe I want to do sales. What about, man, maybe this is about B2B. So what if I just did B2B? It's going to drop down for me, whoops, BB2, B2B. Let's see, 32,000. Oh, wow, look at that, 35,000 on B2B marketing. Maybe that's a better option. So it's just kind of a really fast way to take your posts and go, oh, what's most appropriate and might give me the most exposure. And then you can go like this, get followers, and the little pop up here that sort of adds it all up. So it's a pretty nifty little extension. I've not had any problems with either of those two for quite some time. Let's see. Actually 3 final ones here. Anybody else have anything on that where those are, I feel like those are kind of just miscellaneous. I don't even know where to put those. Yeah, let's just move on because we're past the hour. Analyzing headline and other text. Has anyone used this right here, share through? I wonder if Judy Parson shared this with us also in the past. Has anyone done this before to analyze your headline and any other text? But can you not?
I used it before.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it. It helps you like for your email, for your social post, your blogs. One of my marketing people that were on LinkedIn Remastered, she shared this tool with everyone. Cool. And it was a big hit. So I've been testing it and I was like, oh, that headline sucks. I only got a 67, and it'll give you suggestions. It's just, those are this first statement that people are going to see on a blog or an email or a post. So it does help you.
Yeah. So you could use it on your LinkedIn headline. what you could use it on a linked, like an article?
An
Like a LinkedIn
article, a blog, an email.
Cool. What about longer form text like you're about?
No.
No, okay, just the sort of short and sweet ones. Cool. Very cool.
You can
Any
use
other
like Pepper AI, like you can use different AI tools to help you write better quality. I still think the about you section that's very personal and you need to write that yourself.
Yeah. Any other
I think we're almost quarter past the hour. Should we?
There's a
Can I
lot
add one tool that I didn't see mentioned that's actually an official LinkedIn tool that a lot of people aren't aware, the LinkedIn Post Inspector. Because if you're writing your own blog article and you don't get like an image put into it or something like that, when you enter a post or a link into LinkedIn, the cache does not clear immediately. It lasts like a week. But if you want to see what is LinkedIn going to pull in if I share this link, you can use that. Or if you put it in and it's not pulled in what you like, it's an ugly link, you can go in, and when you do that, it will clear the cache and reset it to what the new link is. That is a huge,
that's very helpful
tool, especially for people who write their own blogs and aren't super tech savvy to know how to, create featured images and put images in and, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Crystal. Thank you so much.